To IT Mate and the growing uncertainty of the U.S. and global banking systems. Recent bank failures are prompting other institutions to bail or buy each other out.
But how are banks in Indiana holding up, and do you need to be concerned? IT Mate's Cody Fisher spoke with a finance professor about what's going on.
The expert that I spoke with tells me that banks here in Indiana are feeling the pinch of what's happening. But so far, it's not as bad as in other parts of the country or across the globe.
Yes, the banks in Indiana are the size of the banks that are being impacted. But the banks in Indiana haven't been impacted because they have a completely different portfolio of assets.
Dr. Matt Will is a professor of finance at the University of Indianapolis. He explained why Indiana bank portfolios are safer than other banks that have failed or needed to be saved.
The way a bank works is they take your deposits, your checking accounts, your savings account, and then they lend it out to someone else. Well, in California, they're lending that money to crypto companies and venture capital companies. Those are both really high risk. Indiana does not have either one of those industries to speak of, and therefore we're not really at risk like the other parts of the country.
Dr. Will told IT Mate banks in Indiana are not immune to what's happening. The main thing hurting them, inflation, and the Federal Reserve raising short-term interest rates.
All banks in Indiana have experienced some losses as a result of interest rates going up. All the regional banks have reported these losses. German American Bank, First Financial, Old National Bank, but they've been very small and well within the limits of what they can manage.
He says there's a real risk of this banking crisis continuing and spreading from bank to bank if finance and government officials don't handle the situation properly.
If the inflation that we have in the economy does not come under control, the Federal Reserve Board will keep raising short-term rates, and that will continue to hurt banks. And even a strong bank at some point may not be able to withstand that.
The Federal Reserve will be deciding this week if they will raise interest rates again. I asked Dr. Will how that will impact banks here in Indiana.
And I think they can withstand pretty substantial rate increases because they have very conservative portfolios. Yes, they will lose money whenever the rates go up, but it's not going to be nearly as much as would be in other places of the country.
Even though Dr. Will tells me that banks here in Indiana are on solid ground, he tells me that if things don't get better soon, there could be long-term impacts on the national and global economy. Reporting in Indianapolis, Cody Fisher, Wish TV, IT Mate.